Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about former President Trump and his statements on certain goings on. We'll talk about Whelan. We'll talk about Bout. And we're going to talk about a Trump quote. And we're going to go through it. In the beginning, we're just going to act like it's true. We're going to discuss the philosophical aspects of what he said. Then we'll go through and see if it actually is true, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll go over the implication of what he said. Okay, so what did he say? I turned down a deal with Russia for a one-on-one swap of the so-called Merchant of Death for Paul Whelan. I wouldn't have made the deal for 100 people in exchange for someone that has killed untold numbers of people with his arms deals. And this attitude is why former President Trump is former President Trump. Being more concerned about punishment rather than justice, that's not really a sign of good leadership right there. I have a lot of questions about the idea of just letting 100 people go for one person who at the time had been out of circulation for like 10 years. Now, there's also this bit that just, I really couldn't get over for a second. Someone that has killed untold numbers of people with his arms deals. That makes him a bad person, right? What about Trump's? If I'm not mistaken, in 2017, just with Saudi Arabia, he signed letters of intent for them for deals amounting to $350 billion. I'm pretty sure Bout hadn't done anything of that scale. The philosophy here, it doesn't exist. There's no moral framework for his statements. It's just him ranting. Now, let's talk about whether or not it's true. Because according to Fiona Hill, who was on his national security team, he was not particularly interested in the case. Didn't really care. That sentiment is echoed by Whelan's family. If I'm not mistaken, Trump has talked about it more in the aftermath of the recent deal than he did during his entire presidency. And he didn't really seem to care, is the general consensus of people who are familiar with the matter. So I don't actually think that he put any thought into it. It just didn't seem important to him. Now let's go over the implication. What he's trying to do is kind of insinuate that because he would have been able to get a Bout for Whelan deal back in 2018, that would still be on the table today. It's not how it works. That is not how it works. International poker game where everybody is cheating. Every card that is dealt changes everybody's hand. So what happened between 2018 and today, let's try August of 2019, that might have changed Russia's intent? One of their hitters, an FSB hitter by the name of Vadim Kasakov, got picked up in Berlin. Somebody that's actually important to Russian operations. That's who they wanted, incidentally. Reporting suggests that's who they would trade him for today. The math has changed. The card game has changed. It has moved on. The implication that Trump is trying to make, according to people familiar with the matter, he didn't feel that way. And the downstream effect of being able to do it today, it's not true. because the situation has changed in 4 years. So that's just a general overview of Trump's statements on this. He is trying to use Whelan for his own political ends. He didn't care enough to try to work to get him out during his presidency, but now he's willing to make promises and insinuate that Biden's doing something wrong and try to tear down anything that's good because he didn't do it. And he knows he didn't do it. And his end goal here is to try to paint himself as somebody who is better at foreign policy than Biden. Trump was a foreign policy disaster. Trump was a foreign policy disaster. There is no other way to say it. And he'll continue to be. I mean, he's not even in office, and he's still a foreign policy disaster. His statements, they're not worth much. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.